Next.js Conf. Today I'm going to talk to you about the value of starter kits. And specifically we're going to look at a commerce-based starter kit. We're going to use the Next.js Commerce Starter Kit and we're going to power it with Sitecore OrderCloud, a headless API-first commerce platform. The combination of Sitecore OrderCloud and Next.js Commerce will provide you with the opportunity to have a B2C commerce storefront up and running within 5 minutes. My name is Pieter Brinkman. I'm Vice President of Technical Marketing at Sitecore. Mostly the session today will be demos. And the demo will be two parts. The first part is set up and deploy Next.js Commerce. On the screen here you can see the 4 easy steps that you need to do. We're going to go into forsell.com and we're going to start selecting the Next.js Commerce Starter Kit as a template. That will clone that template into my personal GitHub repository, and then we'll trigger a deploy on forsell.com. That deploy will pull back the code from GitHub and deploy my statically generated website directly on Forsell. At that point in time, we'll have a commerce storefront up and running, but it still uses the local data from the markdown files that I have in GitHub. So of course we want to power it by a full-blown commerce platform behind it, so we can actually sell things and have a product catalog. So we're going to add OrderCloud to it. So we'll go back into forsell.com and we're going to add the OrderCloud integration. That will provision OrderCloud with default data, with a marketing, with a catalog, with product data, all into OrderCloud. And then we'll pull back the environment variables. So after we have the environment variables, Forsell can then talk directly into OrderCloud because it has all the different credentials there. Then we're going to pull another deploy, or we're going to redeploy basically. And the redeploy will then pull all the catalog product data from OrderCloud and static generate our website and host it on Forsell using all that data from OrderCloud. So then we have our full site up and running, a B2C commerce storefront. But how do you change that? Like, how as a developer, how do you make changes? How do you build out those the requirements that your customer have? So that's basically part 2. How do we set up our local dev environment, and how do we then commit a change to the live environment? Again, 4 easy steps. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to clone that same GitHub repository to our local machine. Then we need to link our local instance to Forsell and get the environment variables. So that way we can talk to both Forsell, but also to OrderCloud. Then we're going to run everything local. We're going to use pnpm to get all the requirements packages. And then we're going to run a dev environment. When we've got it running, we're going to use Visual Studio Code to build out some changes. And then we're going to commit those changes and push them out to GitHub, where Forsell will pick it up and trigger a redeploy. After that, we'll have our OrderCloud and our Next.js Commerce Starter Kit running with the changes that we built in our local dev environment. So that's the demo that we're going to do. But before we do it, a short introduction into Sitecore. So Sitecore is digital experience software. So we deliver relevance in every moment, and we do this with 3 different clouds. We have the Content Cloud, where you can create, manage, and deliver content for any channel. We have the Engagement Cloud, where it's all about customer data and make every interaction smart. And the final cloud is the Commerce Cloud, where it's about delivering that experience-led commerce to any channel. In those different clouds are different products and solutions. So the Content Cloud has products and solutions for search, headless CMS, digital asset management, content operations, and web content management. If you look at the Engagement Cloud, there are solutions there for personalization, automation, and customer data with CDP. Then we have the Commerce Cloud with product discovery, and of course a very strong commerce engine, OrderCloud, that we're going to use today. So if you look at this product, it's really important to understand that we're focusing on headless API-first solutions. Every one of these products is an individual best-of-fit solution, but they should be better together. So if you use, for example, our web content management solution, XM Cloud, and you want to start personalizing that experience, and you add personalization to it, it will automatically be integrated. But even more important is that every one of these individual solutions need to be a friendly neighbor. What we're seeing is that the current enterprise marketing stack consists out of multiple vendors. So as long as marketing stack drives value, we want to make sure that we can integrate with it. So we play well with every other vendor in the stack because you can integrate everything using our APIs. So that's Sitecore. The other part that I want to introduce is the Next.js Commerce Starter Kit. So really it's a starter kit for a B2C commerce storefront. The good thing is it includes multiple vendors, so you can select from different vendors that you want to use for the integration. Today we're going to use OrderCloud here, but again there's a variety of choices available for you. So that's it. Let's dive into the demo. We'll start off by going to versell.com, and when you log in you get into your dashboard. You can just use the free account. I'm using the hobby account too here. And you can see I have no project. So we're going to start with creating a new project. And we're going to use that Next.js commerce template to clone. So a number of steps I need to do. First, I need to point it to a Git repository. So I'm going to use GitHub here. I'm already logged in. I'm going to give it a name so we can find it back later on. Next.js conference. I'll keep it private. That's fine for now. Which will bring me to the integration part. I'm not going to add an integration right now. We'll use the local provider now, which uses the markdown files in GitHub. And later on, we'll add the integration to OrderCloud. So I just want to add this. So what you see now is it started a new deployment. So a number of things are happening. It will use that Git repository and it will provision it by cloning a template. Then Vercel will pull it out of GitHub and kick off this new deployment. So it will kick off the CI/CD pipelines, and then basically it will generate the static pages, create a domain with HTTP certificate and all these other things. If we scroll down, you can see it doing all these different steps. If I'm on time, I can still point out something here that we're using the local provider now. That went very quickly. Let me go back. But congratulations, so that's good. We're successfully deployed. That's all good. So let's go to the dashboard and quickly take a look at the build logs. I do want to show out that local provider that we're using, which means that we're using the markdown files. We're not connected with any backend system. So here you can see it's using the local provider, which is basically markdown files from GitHub. It calculates how many static site or how many static pages needs to be generated, 23. It generates the pages, and then we ended up in success after it created that domain. So here we can see the domain that has been created. If we click on that domain, we'll get our commerce storefront. So really it's a basic commerce storefront we all use day to day, I guess. There's 3 products here to show: new short sleeve t-shirt, lightweight jacket, and shirt, all coming again from those markdown files. But of course, in a real world commerce scenario, you need a commerce platform where the real power is to support this. You cannot run a commerce engine from markdown. You really need a commerce engine that drives that business value and all the complexity of commerce. So what we're going to add here is Sitecore's OrderCloud to the backend to power this commerce storefront. So let's do that. I'm going to close this example site and I'll go back to my Vercel dashboard. I'll go into the project, and then if we click settings, we can find the integration menu, which has an option to browse the marketplace. So we're going to browse the marketplace, which basically is the Vercel marketplace where you can find all kinds of integrations. So it's very good to take a look at those, what integrations exist. For the commerce part, we're going to use Sitecore OrderCloud. So we're going to click Sitecore OrderCloud. A detail page would show up that has more information about the whole integration, but we're just going to edit for time's sakes. So a wizard shows up that's basically 2-part wizard, but there's a number of questions. The first one is, what kind of account do you use from Vercel? So we're logged in with this account, so I can continue with that one. Do you want to add it to all your projects or a specific project? I always like to do a specific project. You might want to do other projects and commerce projects. So that's it. I'm going to say add integration, and then the next step comes up. So this is where you need to provide your OrderCloud credentials. So either you can register for a free account, or you can use your existing OrderCloud credentials. So I already have an OrderCloud credential, so I'm going to just log in with those credentials, and I'm going to press login. As soon as I'm logged in, I got the option. Do I want to use an existing marketplace like I have here, or if you're new to it, do you want to seed a new marketplace? So for this demo, I want the integration to seed a new marketplace. So I'm going to say apply changes, and now they're seeding my marketplace. So a number of things are happening here. It's creating all the different things that you need for a marketplace. So it's creating the products, the categories, the users. All different things are now seeded into OrderCloud directly from its integration. So that's done. The window is closed. We're all good. So what we now need to do is we need to go back to our project and we need to initiate a redeploy. So Vercel will statically generate all the pages based on OrderCloud. So go into my project here, into deployments, and I'm going to kick off that rebuild. So while that is running, let's go back to our project and check in settings the environment variables. So what you can see here is with the integration, Vercel grabbed all these environment variables, and these variables are used to connect to the secure APIs of OrderCloud. So with these variables, you can pull all the product data and actually execute the build that it's currently doing. So let's go to the deployment and see how it's going. It's still building, that's good. Let's expand this and scroll down. If everything is okay, it's not using the local provider anymore, but it's now using the OrderCloud provider. So that's really good. If we scroll down, it's probably calculating how many pages it needs to create. So it was 24 with the local files. It's probably going to be something different now while it's using Vercel. So here you go. It's collecting the page data. Here, 37 pages to generate it. So it's generating the pages. It should be done any minute. I'm going to close this right now so we can see it. Wrapping up to the next step, 1 minute 20. So it's quickly going to add some domains and then we'll be good to go to visit the website. Here you go. It's ready. It's on production. So that's all good. So let's visit our new website now. So what you see is we got different products now. We got a black hat, a bomber jacket, and a champion jacket. And this is because this data is now coming directly from OrderCloud. Here's our marquee. There's a title here with a text. There's the same products, different view. Even more products here, or product categories down here, and a few menu. Really, it's a basic commerce B2C storefront that you use every day. So that's pretty cool. Let's take a look at how this then looks in OrderCloud. Where is this data coming from? So I'm going into ordercloud.io. And I'm going to use the portal button to log in. I'm already authenticated, so that's good. This is the screen that you would get normally in OrderCloud when you log into the portal. You can see I got multiple marketplaces. The Vercel Commerce Marketplace is the one that's just been populated by the integration. So let's see and use the API console to see what kind of data is in that marketplace. So the first thing we need to do is we need to select the context. So we need to select the marketplace that we want to query. We're using that Vercel Commerce marketplace. And what we want to do here is we want to see what products we have. So let's first see what kind of product catalogs we have. So we have one product catalog with the ID Solidary Storefront. So I'm going to copy that ID because we need that ID to get all the products from the storefront. So I'm clicking products here. I'm copying the catalog ID and I'm basically sending it over to see the JSON return here. So this is all interacting with the API. This is really a clean API console with JSON data as output. So in the Solidary Storefront, we have a number of products. We have the black hat that we also saw on the website. Then we have our bomber jacket, and of course, then the last one is a champion jacket. So you can see all these products are now coming from OrderCloud. So that's really cool. We have our website up and running. The products are coming from OrderCloud, which is a commerce backend system. So that's really good. But of course, if we look at this website, we want to change things, right? We're developers. We have customers that has requirements. So the next step would be, how do we run this locally and how do we develop locally on it and then push it back to production? So let's get that going. Let's fix that last part. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start with cloning our repository that's just been created to our local machine. So when I go into GitHub and I'll search for my project, you can see that this is the project. It's been created 9 minutes ago when we were starting the demo. And if you work with Next.js before, you would see that the structure here is really recognizable for any Next.js project, right? You got pages, components, everything is here. So we're gonna clone this one to our local computer. So I'm gonna copy the SSH command and I'm gonna pull up a terminal here. So I'm gonna say git clone and copy that comment. So this will clone the URL, basically pull all the data from GitHub to my local machine. So when this is done, I can just go into that folder, and when we do an overview, you see exactly the same. The packages, the sites, all the file structure is exactly the same. So now let's open this location, this folder, into Visual Studio Code. So now it's opened this location in Visual Studio Code. And again, what you see here on the side is exactly the same structure as GitHub because we cloned it. So it's the same as that only then locally. So the components, pages, everything is here. So that's good. We got our files locally. So now we need to get the connect this project with Vercel. So we're gonna go into the terminal window here, and we're gonna say start with linking our account. So I'm gonna say Vercel link. It will ask me a few questions. Do you want to set up this location? That's exactly what I want. Which scope? My own account. Which project? That's also correct. And now we're linked. So now these two projects are linked. What we now can do is we can pull those environment variables we just showed in OrderCloud. So we can use those environment variables to connect our local solution to the OrderCloud APIs. So let's do that. Vercel environment pull. So this will pull the environment variables. As soon as it's downloaded, you will see the end file showing up here. So the .env file again shows exactly that same information we just saw on vercel.com in the portal. One thing we need to do, we need to copy this environment variable into the site folder, because that's where we at the end are running our website from. So that's good. We got our environment variables, so our local environment can talk with as the credentials to at least talk to OrderCloud. So now we need to set up our dev environment. Next.js Commerce uses pnpm package manager. So we're going to run pnpm install, which will basically get all the different projects and all the different packages that are needed to run OrderCloud. So just give this a moment and let it run. It's a one-off. All right, so all packages have now been installed. Now we can run the local development environment. So we can do pnpm dev, which will start up the local development environment. So again, let this run for a moment. It needs to compile all kinds of things, and it will give you a message when it's ready. All right, it says that successfully compiled the modules. Let's open another tab, and we can visit the website on localhost 3000. And here you go. We have our site locally up and running on localhost 3000, the black hat, the bomber jacket, champion jacket, all the data coming directly from OrderCloud. So it's talking to the APIs, the title, the text, everything is there. So that's perfect. We got it locally up and running. So now let's make a small change and see how do we develop on this locally, and how do we push this then back to a staging environment. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put the screens next to each other. Again, we got different things here. We got the different product listing, a marquee, a text, and a title. So let's just change the title. It's a very easy fix. So we're going to do that inside of sites. There's the pages, and this is the index page. So now we just need to find this piece of text. So I'm going to scroll down, see where it is. So here's the marquee that's up there. So we're nearly there. Here's the text. Perfect. So I'm going to remove the text, and I'm going to say welcome Next.js conf, and I'm going to save it. So what you now would see that's going to happen is as soon as I save, it notifies that there's changes. So it starts compiling again. The page is being compiled, and the change will instantly be reflected in the browser. So this is how you want to do front-end development. It's very nice to develop this way. So everything that you change will be instantly updated into your browser. So that's really good. So we're happy with these changes. It's a bit easy change, but fair enough, good enough for a demo. So how do we now push this to a staging environment, back to Vercel.com or to the production environment? So let's do that. We'll do that using, of course, GitHub, and we're going to commit the changes. So when I go into the source control tab here, I can see the change here. So notify index.tsx has been changed. So I'm going to say that's perfect. Let's stage this change. I'll add a commit message. Let's go. And then we're going to say commit and push. So now it's commit and push. I'm going to make this window big again. And let's go back to GitHub. If we now refresh this GitHub page, you would see that there is a commit here. Let's go with the commit message. If I click on it, you can see this text has changed to this part. If we would go to Vercel and we go to our project, you would see a new build has been kicked off. So if we go here into the build, we can see what's going on. But the cool thing also, you can see the commit message here. So I can see, if I want to see what has kicked off this build, I can click on let's go. It will bring me instantly to GitHub again, open a new tab, and I can see those same changes in GitHub. So it's already ready. It said let's go. So let's see how it looks like. I can visit the domain here. And let's see if the changes are on this page. So I'll scroll down and here's the changes. Welcome to Next.js conference. And that's how easy it is. So this demo, which was about 15 minutes, showed you all the way from setting it up locally to setting up your dev environment to pushing out the changes to a production site. I want to wrap up with a few pointers. When you start a project, first look at starter kits. Don't reinvent the wheel time over time. Focus on the things that actually drive business value. If you need to do plumbing every time for every project, it doesn't make sense, right? So take a look at all the different starter kits that are available. The Next.js Commerce one is a great example. So when you start looking at commerce, start out with the Next.js Commerce starter kit. You need a commerce backend, go to OrderCloud.io, get that free account. Everything that I showed today was on free account. So there's no credit card or anything involved. You can just go in there and start playing around with it. So I would say don't wait any longer. Get started and dive into the commerce world. I want to thank you for attending. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to reach me out on the social channels. And I do wish you all a happy conference. Thank you.